Hey guys, tonight we're going to dive into the world of ancient Greece, where the power of dreams wasn't just a fleeting fancy, but something that had real weight in shaping their lives, decisions, and even their faith. Imagine a world where the gods themselves whispered to you in your sleep, offering guidance, predictions, or warnings, like they were just another part of your daily routine. Pretty wild, right? Well, in the Greek world, this was a very real and sacred part of their existence. You probably won't survive this well, at least not without a bit of ancient divine intervention. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, if you're in the mood, drop your location and local time in the comments below. Let's see how far we can spread this dream journey tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. In ancient Greece, the concept of sleep was far from mundane. For the Greeks, sleep was a doorway to another realm, where gods, spirits, and even the dead could speak to the living. But it wasn't just the physical act of sleeping that fascinated them, it was the dreams that followed. They didn't just shrug off a weird dream as a passing thought. No, to them, every dream had meaning, and the gods themselves were often the ones sending these messages. Sleep was a sacred, almost mystical process, and in their eyes, it was far more than just a natural part of life. It was a direct connection to the divine. Imagine falling asleep with the belief that what you saw, while unconscious, could change the course of your entire life. The Greeks believed that sleep was a gift from the gods, and the most important deity connected to this world was Hypnos, the god of sleep. Hypnos wasn't just a passive figure in the background, he was an essential part of the Greek pantheon. His very presence was felt whenever anyone drifted off into their dreams, offering them the peaceful respite they craved, or sometimes the unsettling visions they needed. With his twin brother, Thanatos, the god of death, Hypnos ruled over the realm of sleep, guiding the souls of the living and the dead. As you lay back, imagine drifting off into a world of deep, undisturbed sleep, where every dream carries a message, a warning, or sometimes even a vision of what's to come. In ancient Greece, this wasn't just a figment of your imagination, it was a sacred journey into the unknown, guided by Hypnos, the god of sleep himself. Hypnos wasn't some minor deity tucked away in the back of Greek mythology. He was one of the essential figures who governed the most vulnerable and transformative state a person could experience, sleep. For the Greeks, Hypnos wasn't simply about rest. He controlled the realms where the conscious and unconscious met, guiding them through a space where their dreams could influence the present, their future, or even the fates of entire cities. Hypnos was depicted as a serene, peaceful figure, often shown with wings, suggesting the light, airy nature of sleep. But despite his gentle appearance, he held significant power in the Greek imagination. After all, in a world where gods and mortals regularly interacted, the act of sleep wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Hypnos had a twin brother, Thanatos, the god of death. The two were intimately connected in Greek thought, and this connection was often seen as a natural flow from one state to another. Sleep was, after all, considered a little death in itself. It was a way of leaving behind the physical world and stepping into something ethereal, something that only the gods could truly understand. Historians still argue whether the Greeks thought of sleep as a temporary visit to the afterlife, or if it was simply a means of connecting with the divine. But one thing is clear, sleep, and by extension, Hypnos, played a critical role in their daily lives. Sleep wasn't just about recuperation for the body, it was about connecting to something higher. Hypnos's role wasn't only to bring sleep, but also to guide those who entered his realm into a world of dreams that could contain answers, prophecies, or even healing. One of the most fascinating aspects of Hypnos's realm was his ability to shape dreams. In a sense, dreams were seen as a gift from the gods, a way for them to communicate with mortals in their sleep. The Greeks didn't dismiss dreams as random or meaningless. They believed that dreams were a direct communication from the divine. The gods would send visions, and these dreams could influence one's life, altering the course of events or decisions. In fact, it was said that the great heroes of Greek mythology often received important messages through their dreams, whether it was guidance for their journeys, warnings about impending doom, or divine advice on matters of war and peace. Let's take a moment to reflect on how the Greek hero Achilles was often depicted in dreams. Before the Trojan War, Achilles was said to have had a series of dreams that were filled with visions of his future. Some of these dreams were favorable, hinting at his glory and fame, while others were disturbing, warning him of the grim fate that awaited him. It's interesting to note that many of the major decisions Achilles made were influenced by his dreams, especially those connected to his immortality. In fact, the choice he faced, whether to live a long life in obscurity or die young, but immortalized in myth, was one he had to resolve not just with his waking mind, but through the dreams that filled his nights. And Achilles was not alone. Many leaders, warriors, and philosophers in ancient Greece would turn to their dreams for guidance. They believed that if they prayed hard enough or performed the right rituals, the gods would communicate with them through dreams. The greatest philosophers, too, considered dreams a serious part of their lives. Socrates, for example, was known to be a dreamer himself, and he often relied on his dreams for insight. One of his most famous teachings was that the divine would speak to him in his sleep, guiding his decisions in both his personal and public life. But not all dreams were filled with the comforting whispers of divine guidance. In fact, many of the Greeks believed that some dreams were far more sinister, often filled with warnings of death, danger, or misfortune. These dreams were considered bad omens, sent to alert the dreamer to dangers they couldn't yet see. Dreams were also believed to be a way for the gods to remind mortals of their mortality. When the dream world became frightening or disturbing, it was often a message from the gods to be cautious or to prepare for something bad. Perhaps one of the most fascinating places where dreams held tremendous power was in the healing temples of Asclepius, the god of medicine. These temples were scattered across Greece and were thought to be the places where the most sacred dream experiences could occur. Here, the Greeks believed that sleep and dreams could actually heal the body. The temple of Asclepius was an institution where those suffering from illnesses or maladies would sleep in a sacred space, hoping that their dreams would bring them answers or even cures. The priests of the temple would interpret the dreams, often finding that the dreamers received visions of what they needed to do to heal, or even receiving healing themselves in their dreams. It was said that Asclepius could send a dream to guide the ill, offering them a cure or showing them the treatment they needed to recover. Historians still argue about the exact role of these dream healing rituals. Some believe they were purely psychological, a way to provide comfort to the sick. Others suggest that the dream world was seen as having real, tangible healing power. Regardless of the debate, one thing is certain: dreams were seen as a bridge between the mortal and divine realms, with the potential to heal, warn, and guide. The Greeks believed that by tapping into the power of sleep, they could tap into the knowledge and wisdom of the gods themselves. So, how did the Greeks make sense of these dreams, and how did they interpret them? The answer lies in their belief in divination and the art of dream interpretation. In ancient Greece, dreams were seen as highly symbolic, and there were priests and philosophers who specialized in interpreting these messages. They would study the symbols in a dream, searching for deeper meanings. Historians still debate the methods used for interpreting dreams, with some suggesting that dream interpretation was an art based on intuition, while others believe it was a more structured and systematic process. Either way, the Greeks saw dream interpretation as an important skill, one that could influence everything from political decisions to personal choices. Now, picture yourself drifting off to sleep in a sacred temple, hoping that Hypnos would visit you in the night and bring you the dream you needed. The flickering of candlelight would be the only sound, the air thick with the scent of incense, and you would slip away into the dream world, hoping for a divine message. Whether the dream brought guidance or warnings, the Greeks believed it had the power to shape your future. It was not just about sleeping, it was about connecting to something greater than yourself. As you continue to sink deeper into this peaceful slumber, imagine now that you're in a world where dreams can affect not only your personal journey but also the fate of an entire civilization. In ancient Greece, dreams weren't just private experiences confined to your bedchamber. They were public affairs that had the power to change history, shift the course of wars, or even determine the future of cities. Yes, you heard me right. The Greeks believed that their dreams, especially the ones sent by the gods, could influence not only their own lives but also the fate of the entire world. Let's take a look at the Greeks' fascination with dreams as prophecies. While many cultures have considered dreams as messages from the divine, the Greeks took this notion to a whole new level. One of the most famous examples comes from the ancient seer or prophetess named Pythia, who served at the temple of Apollo at Delphi. Pythia's prophetic dreams weren't just about the future of individuals, but about the entire fate of Greece itself. People from all over the Greek world would come to her for advice, often in the form of cryptic dreams that she would interpret. These dreams were believed to be guided by Apollo himself. The Oracle of Delphi, renowned for its accuracy, played a significant role in guiding the decisions of kings and warriors alike. For example, before the Great Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE, a dream was sent to the Athenian general Miltiades. The gods warned him of the overwhelming force of the Persian invaders. Yet the dream also carried a message of hope. It hinted that the Greeks, despite being outnumbered, could win the battle if they were brave enough to stand their ground. Miltiades, interpreting the dream as a divine message, led his forces to an unexpected victory, one that secured the future of Greece and ensured that Persian expansion into the west was halted. Historians still argue about whether Miltiades' decision to act on the dream was a strategic genius or a desperate gamble, but one thing is certain: it changed the course of history. But dreams weren't just for military leaders and kings. Ordinary people too sought guidance through their dreams. This wasn't simply about finding answers in the everyday sense. This was about accessing a higher, divine truth that only the gods could provide. The Greeks would even consult specific temples dedicated to Asclepius, the god of healing, to seek cures for illnesses or diseases through dreams. Asclepius, who was considered the greatest healer in the Greek pantheon, was believed to send prophetic dreams that not only offered guidance on how to treat certain ailments, but also often provided insight into the patient's spiritual and emotional well-being. Visitors would sleep in the temple, and during the night, they would receive healing dreams, perhaps showing them a specific remedy, a ritual to perform, or even a simple prayer to say. The idea of dream healing was a common practice in these temples, and it left behind a legacy that has inspired modern-day therapeutic practices in medicine and psychology. However, it wasn't just the healing temples that were at the forefront of dream interpretation. In daily life, the Greeks had an entire system of rituals, prayers, and omens devoted to the art of deciphering their dreams. Some dreams were considered so important that they required an official interpretation from a skilled dream interpreter, a profession that was as valued as any other learned art in Greek society. A trained interpreter, often a priest or philosopher, would study the symbols and messages within the dream, using a well-developed system of signs and omens passed down through generations. Historians still debate how formalized this practice of dream interpretation actually was. Was it a structured system akin to the oracles, or was it more of an intuitive skill that relied on the interpreter's own insight and experience? One thing we do know is that the Greeks held their dream interpreters in high esteem. In fact, some ancient texts even suggest that Greek leaders, like Alexander the Great, would turn to their dreams for advice, guidance, and sometimes even approval for major decisions. Alexander, known for his extraordinary military genius, reportedly relied on dreams to help him determine the best course of action when he faced difficult choices. But let's not forget about the darker side of dreams. The Greeks also believed that certain dreams could be omens of doom, a sign that disaster was on the horizon. These were not the uplifting, inspirational dreams of glory and conquest. Instead, these were the nightmares, the dreams that were filled with symbols of death, destruction, and despair. One of the most famous stories of a bad dream came from the story of the Spartan king, Aegeus II. Before a crucial battle, he had a terrifying dream in which he was overwhelmed by waves and drowned. His advisors were quick to dismiss the dream as a figment of his imagination, but Aegeus took it to heart. The battle was a disaster for the Spartans, and Aegis's forces were completely defeated. Historians still argue whether Aegis's dream was simply a reflection of his growing fear or whether it was a genuine warning from the gods. But the timing of the dream and the outcome of the battle certainly seem to give weight to the belief that dreams could carry deep significance. In addition to these ominous dreams, the Greeks also had the concept of nightmares, which were often viewed as a punishment from the gods. These dreams were believed to be sent by the goddess Nyx, the personification of night, or by one of her children, such as the dream demons, the Oneiroi. They were seen as harbingers of misfortune or messages that the dreamer had offended the gods in some way. Nightmares in this sense served as a reminder to the dreamer that they were still at the mercy of the divine world and had to behave in a way that would earn them favor. Sleep, in the Greek world, was far more than just a physical necessity. It was a doorway to the divine, a place where dreams could offer prophetic insight, healing, and warnings. It was a time when the gods, through their emissaries and messages, could make their presence known in the most intimate of ways. The Greeks believed that dreams had the power to shape the future, and that sleep was a bridge to the divine realm. As you drift off tonight, think about what those ancient Greeks might have believed about the dreams that fill your own nights. Perhaps there is a message, a sign, or even a warning waiting to be uncovered. As you continue to relax, let's shift gears and explore a fascinating part of Greek culture that connects deeply with the idea of dreams having both physical and spiritual significance. We've talked about the gods, we've talked about the warriors and leaders who sought guidance from their dreams, but now let's step into a world that might surprise you. Healing through dreams. This might seem a little far-fetched, but the Greeks took this seriously. You see, the ancient Greeks believed that the mind, body, and spirit were inextricably linked, and the act of sleeping and dreaming could heal both the body and the soul. Now, imagine this. You're suffering from an illness, perhaps something chronic, something no doctor can seem to cure. Instead of just relying on herbs, potions, or physical treatments, you decide to take a trip to a temple. But this isn't any regular temple, it's the temple of Asclepius, the god of medicine and healing. Asclepius was believed to have the power to heal people in their dreams, guiding them toward cures through sacred visions. The temple itself was a unique place, specifically designed to offer sanctuary and guidance to those in need of healing. It was known that the sick would come to sleep in these temples, hoping for a visit from Asclepius or one of his followers in their dreams. In the temple of Asclepius, patients would enter a state of semi-consciousness, and while they slept, they were thought to receive divine guidance in the form of dreams. These dreams often offered a healing remedy or a prescription for what the patient needed to do next in their journey toward recovery. The temples were not only physical healing centers, but spiritual ones too, where dreams were seen as a way to tap into the divine to solve medical problems. The patient would then wake up, consult the priests, and follow the instructions or remedies that had been revealed to them in the dream. Historians still argue whether these dreams were simply the result of the brain processing symptoms during rest, or if there was something more mystical at play. Some believe that the dreams were a form of therapeutic suggestion, helping patients make better decisions about their treatments. Others, however, insist that there was something genuinely divine about these experiences. Either way, it's clear that the Greeks viewed sleep and dreams as vital tools in the process of healing, blending the physical and the spiritual in a way that seems uniquely Greek. These healing dreams weren't just for the sick. They were also used for personal guidance. Imagine a Greek soldier preparing for battle, plagued by the anxiety of what's to come. Instead of relying solely on his training, he might turn to Asclepius for comfort. He would spend the night in the temple, allowing his mind to enter a state of relaxed vulnerability, trusting that the dream world would offer him some sort of clarity. In this way, dreams weren't just for physical ailments, they were for the spirit, for the mind, and for the challenges that life itself threw at people. It wasn't just about seeking physical health, but mental and emotional strength as well. Now, let's pause for a moment to reflect on the dual nature of sleep in ancient Greece. In one way, it was seen as a peaceful escape from the chaos of daily life, a time to rejuvenate the body and mind. But in another, deeper way, sleep was a portal to the divine, an opportunity for the gods to communicate with mortals, offer them advice, and sometimes to heal them. Whether it was a healing dream from Asclepius, a prophetic vision from Apollo, or a disturbing warning from Nyx, the Greeks understood that sleep and the dreams that accompanied it were powerful, transformative experiences. And these experiences weren't limited to just the temples. Ordinary people too believed in the ability of dreams to influence their lives. There are stories of individuals who received guidance or warnings in their sleep that changed the course of their lives. One famous example is the tale of the Athenian general Alcibiades. It was said that he received a prophetic dream before the Battle of Arginusae in 406 BCE, in which he was visited by the goddess Athena. In this dream, Athena promised him victory, and sure enough, Alcibiades led his troops to a significant victory. solidifying his place in history. Was it simply a coincidence? Historians still debate the role of dreams in shaping military strategy and political events in ancient Greece, but for those who lived during this time, dreams were regarded as much more than mere fancies of the mind. They were seen as powerful omens that could guide, shape, and even alter the course of history. But not all dreams were full of hope and guidance. Just as sleep could be a source of divine healing and guidance, it could also bring warnings and portents of doom. The Greeks believed that nightmares and disturbing dreams were messages from the gods, urging the dreamer to be cautious or to prepare for something bad. One such story comes from the great conqueror Alexander the Great. Before embarking on his invasion of Persia, Alexander had a series of troubling dreams. In one, he saw himself wounded by a lion, symbolizing the dangers he would face on his journey. In another, he saw the ghost of his father, King Philip, telling him to be cautious. These ominous dreams, however, didn't deter Alexander. Instead, he took them as warnings to be vigilant and prepared. Historians debate whether these dreams were simply reflections of Alexander's own subconscious anxieties, or whether they were genuine divine messages, but the fact that they made an impression on him is undeniable. In the ancient world, dreams were never seen as just random occurrences. They were significant, they held meaning, and the Greeks knew this better than most. They believed that dreams were a direct connection to the divine, a way for the gods to communicate with mortals in their sleep, offering them guidance, healing, and sometimes warnings. Whether it was a message from Asclepius, a vision from Apollo, or an omen from Nyx, sleep was an opportunity to enter a world where the divine could speak directly to you, shaping your future, your actions, and even your fate. So, as you settle deeper into sleep tonight, imagine that you're back in ancient Greece, lying on the cool stone floors of a temple, waiting for the gods to visit you in your dreams. Will they offer you guidance? Will they heal your wounds, whether physical or emotional? Or will they send you a warning, urging you to change course? One thing's for sure, the ancient Greeks knew that sleep was far more than just a time to rest. It was a time to connect with something greater than yourself, to receive messages from the divine, and to explore the hidden realms of the unconscious. And who knows, maybe there's a message waiting for you in your dreams tonight, just like the Greeks believed there was for them. Now, imagine a time when sleep wasn't just a personal retreat, but a cosmic dance with the divine. As you slip deeper into this tranquil slumber, let's think about how the Greeks viewed their dreams as guiding forces in shaping the course of events. They didn't merely wait for dreams to happen, they actively sought them out. For them, the dream world was more than a chance to rest. It was a spiritual experience, a way to receive divine messages that could influence not just personal lives, but the destiny of cities, kingdoms, and even the world itself. The Greeks believed that sleep had the power to bring clarity, peace, and prophecy. There were individuals, and even entire communities, who sought out dreams that could offer insight into the future or illuminate their current circumstances. In this world, prophecy wasn't something abstract or distant. It was tangible and, most importantly, reachable through the sacred art of dreaming. For many, the Temple of Asclepius, located in places like Epidaurus, served as the heart of this sacred journey into dreamland. People traveled from far and wide to seek healing, both physical and spiritual, by experiencing dreams that were seen as gifts from the gods. It wasn't just the sick who sought healing at these temples. Anyone who needed guidance, whether in love, war, or leadership, believed that the divine realm could offer them answers through the dream state. But it wasn't always about healing. Sometimes, people sought out dreams for personal direction, to help them find a solution to a troubling problem, or to make decisions that would impact the course of their lives. The Greeks didn't think of dreams as mere fanciful thoughts. They were real, powerful, and able to alter the course of events in a way that nothing else could. This practice was intertwined with their understanding of the gods' omnipresence. The gods were actively involved in human affairs, and their power extended to the dreams they sent. One story from Greek mythology perfectly illustrates this divine involvement in dreams. The tale of King Croesus, the wealthy ruler of Lydia, is an excellent example of how dreams could guide and mislead a leader. Croesus was famous for his wealth, but his dream led him down a dangerous path. He sought the guidance of the oracle at Delphi, asking whether he should go to war against the Persian Empire. The oracle's answer was cryptic. If you cross the river, you will destroy a great empire. Croesus, interpreting this to mean that he would defeat the Persians, marched into battle, only to be defeated. It turned out that the oracle's prophecy was true. He destroyed his own empire, not that of Persia. Historians still debate whether Croesus misunderstood the oracle's message or whether the gods were giving him a lesson in humility. In either case, this story highlights the Greeks' belief in the potential for dreams and prophecies to shape events, sometimes with a twist of fate that even the most powerful kings couldn't control. Dreams, then, weren't just about personal experiences. They were also about the collective fate of society. For the Greeks, a dream could shape the future of an entire city-state. Take, for instance, the story of the dream of the Athenian general Themistocles, who famously dreamed of a fleet of wooden walls, a dream that led him to build a strong naval fleet. This fleet played a crucial role in the Greek victory against the Persians in the Battle of Salamis, a turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars. Themistocles interpreted the dream as a divine message and acted on it, and it changed the course of history. This story highlights how dreams were not only seen as personal prophecies, but as messages that could protect a society from danger or guide them to triumph. The Greeks weren't the only ones to use dreams for guidance. Other ancient cultures, like the Egyptians and the Romans, also believed in the power of prophetic dreams. However, what set the Greeks apart was the way they wove dreams into their understanding of fate, destiny, and the gods' ongoing influence in daily life. Dreams in Greek society were linked not just to prophecy but also to morality, power, and governance. They were not just tools for the individual, but for the community. A leader's dreams could, in fact, shape the fate of thousands, or even an entire empire. Now, consider this. In today's world, we often dismiss dreams as nothing more than random neural activity or our subconscious processing the events of the day. But for the ancient Greeks, dreams were one of the most sacred channels through which the divine could communicate with the mortal world. They didn't just wait for their dreams to happen passively, they went looking for them, actively seeking out visions, prophecies, and divine guidance. Whether it was in the quiet darkness of their own homes or in the hallowed halls of a temple, the Greeks saw their dreams as crucial touchpoints with the divine. Even today, dream interpretation is a significant part of many spiritual practices. While modern psychology offers explanations for dreams rooted in the subconscious, the ancient Greek tradition of using dreams for prophetic guidance, healing, and decision-making still carries weight in various forms around the world. Whether we're interpreting our own dreams for personal growth, looking to the symbols in our dreams for guidance, or even searching for healing through dream therapy, we continue to carry with us the legacy of the Greeks, an understanding that sleep and the dreams it brings may be far more powerful than we initially realize. As we move deeper into the night, let's reflect on the wisdom of the Greeks. When they closed their eyes and drifted off to sleep, they weren't just surrendering to the unknown, they were stepping into a sacred space where they could connect with the gods, seek guidance, and even shape their futures. For them, the dream world was not something to fear or ignore, it was a sacred, powerful realm that held the key to understanding their lives and their world. Now, as you find yourself deeper into this journey through the night, let's take a step further into the world, where dreams were not only powerful, but downright essential to the Greeks' understanding of the world around them. As we've seen, dreams were considered a bridge to the divine, but there was more to it. Dreams weren't just random events that occurred while you slept. They were seen as messages, often hidden in symbols, that required interpretation. The ancient Greeks, like many cultures, had specialized dream interpreters who could decipher the meanings of these nighttime visions. These interpreters were highly regarded in Greek society, their skills seen as vital to understanding divine will and determining the fate of individuals and even cities. Historians still argue whether the practice of dream interpretation was purely based on the subconscious mind processing day-to-day events, or if it was truly divine intervention. Some believe that dream interpreters were, in fact, trained psychologists of their time, using knowledge of human behavior to guide their interpretations. Others argue that they were spiritual figures, deeply connected to the gods, whose interpretations were believed to be messages directly from the divine. Either way, their role in Greek society was profound. Whether they worked for individuals seeking guidance or for leaders needing to make strategic decisions, these interpreters were integral to shaping the course of events. The most famous dream interpreter of ancient Greece was Artemidorus, whose writings on dream interpretation, Onerocritica, have survived to this day. Artemidorus was considered an expert in decoding dreams, and his work was used as a guide for centuries. In his book, he outlined a vast array of dreams and their possible meanings, categorizing them into dreams that were considered good, bad, or neutral. Artemidorus's system was based on extensive observation of the symbolism present in dreams, which he believed could be interpreted in specific ways. For instance, a dream of eating figs was considered a good omen, symbolizing wealth, while a dream of being struck by lightning was seen as a warning of danger. While his system was based on logic and observation, Artemidorus also emphasized the divine aspect of dreams, acknowledging that some dreams were beyond human understanding and only the gods could fully comprehend their meaning. One of the most fascinating aspects of Greek dream interpretation was how the dreams of rulers and generals were treated with the utmost seriousness. A leader's dreams could influence decisions about war, alliances, and major political moves. Take the story of King Philip II of Macedon, father of the famous Alexander the Great. Before the Battle of Chaeronea in 338 BCE, Philip had a dream in which his wife, Olympias, gave birth to a lion, symbolizing the powerful future of his son, Alexander. When Philip awoke, he believed it was a sign from the gods, affirming that Alexander was destined for greatness. This dream, whether a divine message or simply a reflection of Philip's hopes for his son, illustrates how the Greeks connected dreams with fate, using them to guide their decisions and aspirations. And it wasn't just rulers who turned to dreams for guidance, ordinary people did too. From the common farmer to the philosopher, anyone seeking clarity in their lives could seek out the help of a skilled dream interpreter. For instance, the philosopher Socrates is said to have used dreams to guide his actions. He famously believed that he had a divine voice that spoke to him in dreams, giving him directions on how to live a virtuous life. This voice, which some scholars consider a divine form of communication, was a major part of Socrates' personal philosophy. It was in these dreams that Socrates found clarity about his role in life and his purpose, demonstrating how deeply the Greeks valued dreams as a source of personal guidance. But not all dreams were meant to be interpreted in the same way. Some dreams were seen as purely symbolic, while others were considered direct messages from the gods. The interpretation of these dreams wasn't always clear-cut. Sometimes, dreams contained imagery that seemed to speak to the dreamer on a personal level, while other times, the meaning might be more universal. One of the most famous examples of this comes from the Iliad, where the Greek hero Achilles receives a dream warning him of his impending death. In this dream, the ghost of his close friend Patroclus tells him that his fate is sealed, but also that he has the choice to continue fighting or retreat. This dream, though disturbing, was not simply a warning but a call to action. Achilles had to choose whether to accept his fate or fight against it, and in many ways, his response to this dream defined his future. The Greeks also believed that dreams could reflect the moral state of the dreamer. If a person had a dream about suffering or death, it was often seen as a reflection of their inner turmoil or guilt. Similarly, if a person dreamed of peace or happiness, it was interpreted as a sign of contentment and virtue. This belief in the moral significance of dreams added another layer of depth to the Greek understanding of the unconscious mind. Dreams were not just random occurrences but mirrors of the soul, reflecting the dreamer's innermost thoughts and feelings. This concept, in many ways, foreshadows modern psychological theories about the role of dreams in revealing unconscious desires and fears. Even the nature of the dreams themselves was categorized. Some dreams were believed to be sent directly by the gods, while others were thought to be the result of a restless mind. Dreams that were considered divine in origin were often more vivid and meaningful, while those that were merely the product of daily life were seen as more mundane. Some dreamers even sought out specific rituals or prayers to ensure that their dreams would be prophetic or insightful. For example, people might burn incense or offer sacrifices to the gods before going to sleep in hopes of receiving a divine message during the night. In the Greek world, dreams were a vital tool for navigating life. They weren't just about getting a good night's rest, they were a way to connect with the divine, to receive guidance, to understand the self, and to find meaning in the everyday struggles of life. Whether through dreams of prophecy, healing, or inner reflection, the Greeks understood that the dream world was not just a place for sleep, but a sacred space where the gods could communicate, heal, and guide them toward their destiny. As you continue to drift through this peaceful journey, let's now look at the darker side of dreams in the ancient Greek worldview. While many dreams were seen as divine messages of hope, guidance, and healing, there were also dreams that sent warnings, portents of doom, or terrifying omens. The Greeks believed that bad dreams weren't just a passing nightmare, but a form of divine communication that carried a warning or lesson. In many ways, the disturbing or ominous dreams were just as significant as the pleasant ones. They were the messages from the gods, telling mortals to be cautious or prepare for the worst. One of the most famous examples of a negative dream in Greek mythology comes from the tragic story of King Croesus of Lydia. Croesus, one of the wealthiest men of the ancient world, had a disturbing dream just before he waged war against the Persian Empire. In the dream, he saw his son, Atys, killed in a hunting accident by a spear. Croesus, deeply distressed by this vision, tried to prevent the dream from coming true by keeping Atys at home, away from hunting. However, despite his best efforts to protect his son, fate took its course, and Atys was tragically killed by a spear during a hunt. This dream, which was a warning from the gods, served as a reminder to the Greeks of the inevitability of fate and the limits of human power. Despite all his wealth and power, Croesus couldn't escape the course of destiny that had been foretold to him in a dream. Historians still debate whether Croesus's actions in response to the dream were an attempt to alter fate or a tragic reflection of his own guilt and anxiety. Some argue that his efforts to prevent the dream's outcome only served to bring about the tragedy faster, highlighting the Greek belief in fate and the gods' influence on human lives. In any case, the story of Croesus serves as a vivid example of how the Greeks saw dreams as a means for the gods to send warnings, even when those dreams were unpleasant. Whether the dream was meant to be a lesson or a prophecy, it changed the course of Croesus's life forever. But it wasn't just kings and generals who received these ominous dreams. Ordinary people, too, had disturbing visions that could shape their decisions and lives. In fact, the Greeks believed that nightmares were a form of divine punishment or a sign of bad fortune. These nightmares were often attributed to the goddess Nyx, the personification of night, or to one of her children, the Oneiroi dream spirits who could send nightmares to mortals. These dreams were typically dark, terrifying, and filled with chaos, often warning the dreamer about impending misfortune or doom. The Greeks believed that nightmares were not just about fear, but also about moral lessons. If someone had a nightmare, it was often interpreted as a reflection of their internal turmoil or their guilt. In some cases, these nightmares were seen as a way for the gods to remind the dreamer that they had strayed from the path of righteousness and needed to make amends. The gods used these frightening dreams to correct behavior and steer the dreamer back on the right path. Consider the example of the philosopher Socrates, who famously claimed that his dreams were a form of divine guidance. However, not all of Socrates' dreams were comforting. In one instance, he had a dream in which he was told to attend to the sacrifice, a cryptic message that was interpreted as a call to continue his philosophical work. While this particular dream was encouraging, Socrates believed that other dreams of a darker nature were sent to warn him about his actions. In his view, the gods used dreams to communicate both positive and negative messages. He never ignored a dream, no matter how unsettling it was. His unwavering belief in the divine origin of dreams, both good and bad, shows the central role that dreams played in the lives of Greeks as a vital tool for understanding fate, morality, and destiny. And then there's the story of the famous general, Alexander the Great, who, as we've already mentioned, received his share of prophetic dreams. While some of these dreams foretold victories, others foreshadowed disaster. Before one particularly crucial battle, Alexander had a terrifying dream in which he saw his army slaughtered by a giant serpent. The dream was unsettling, yet Alexander didn't dismiss it. Instead, he took it as a divine message and prepared his forces accordingly, using the nightmare to adjust his strategy and tactics. This story speaks to the Greeks' deep respect for the potential power of bad dreams. They didn't just see nightmares as the brain's reaction to stress, they viewed them as necessary warnings that came from the gods themselves. Bad dreams weren't always an omen of physical death or defeat. Sometimes they were seen as a manifestation of internal struggles. In the case of the Greek playwright Euripides, for example, He had a dream in which his own works were rejected and forgotten by the public. This was a nightmare that disturbed him deeply, as it represented his greatest fear, the idea that his life's work would not be remembered. This nightmare, like so many others, wasn't just a random creation of the mind, it reflected his anxieties and worries. For Euripides, this dream was a haunting reminder that even the greatest achievements could be lost to time, and that the gods were watching over all, ensuring that nothing escaped their notice. In this sense, the Greeks viewed dreams not only as warnings about external dangers, but as reflections of the dreamer's internal state. The dream world was a mirror of the soul, one that could reveal hidden fears, desires, and truths. The gods were believed to send dreams that forced individuals to confront their inner turmoil, and this was as important as any external guidance they might receive. The Greeks didn't just dream for answers, they dreamt to better understand themselves, their morals, and their place in the world. So, as you relax into the quiet of your own dreams tonight, remember the Greeks' view of the dream world. Whether it was a divine message, a warning of doom, or a reflection of inner conflict, the Greeks believed that dreams held great significance. And while we may not always interpret our dreams with the same reverence, perhaps there is a part of us that still looks to our dreams for guidance, whether we realize it or not. So close your eyes and let the dream world carry you. After all, in the Greek tradition, even the darkest dreams can lead to the most profound insights. As you drift deeper into this tranquil night, let's focus on another aspect of Greek dreams that sets them apart from what we commonly think of today. While many dreams in the Greek world were seen as omens or divine messages, some were seen as a source of deep inspiration, guiding creativity and intellectual endeavors. The Greeks were no strangers to seeking out their dreams for more than just answers to everyday problems. They actively turned to them for artistic and philosophical insights. Imagine, if you will, a world where your dreams were not just random fragments of your subconscious, but a source of creativity, a divine spark that could fuel your greatest achievements. One of the most profound ways the Greeks integrated dreams into their lives was through the arts. The ancient Greek philosophers and playwrights often turned to their dreams for inspiration, believing that the gods communicated their wisdom through the dream world. These dreams were not just vague impressions, but clear and vivid revelations that could influence the course of their work. Take the example of the philosopher Socrates, who, as we mentioned earlier, frequently relied on his dreams for guidance. He believed that his dreams were messages from a divine source, urging him to continue his work of questioning and philosophizing. For Socrates, his dreams were more than just reflections of his fears or hopes. They were a direct connection to the divine wisdom he sought to impart to the world. In fact, Socrates' commitment to his dreams and the divine guidance he believed he received from them was so strong that it shaped much of his philosophy. He saw his work as a sacred duty, and his dreams confirmed this calling. Socrates wasn't the only one who found inspiration in dreams. The Greek playwrights, including the famous Euripides, also believed that their most brilliant works were inspired by dreams. Euripides, who is considered one of the greatest playwrights of ancient Greece, once claimed that his most powerful plays were given to him in dreams. He believed that his dreams acted as a direct line to the gods, providing him with the insight and inspiration he needed to write his tragedies. Euripides was not alone in this belief. Many playwrights of the time sought out dreams as a source of artistic inspiration. They believed that by sleeping in the temples of the gods, they could receive divine visions that would help them craft their works. In fact, some of the most famous tragedies of ancient Greece were born from dreams. Take, for instance, the story of the Trojan women by Euripides, a tragedy inspired by the events following the fall of Troy. The play is said to have been inspired by a dream Euripides had in which he witnessed the suffering of the women of Troy as they were taken captive after the city's destruction. This dream provided him with the emotional depth and dramatic vision to write one of the most powerful and moving tragedies of all time. This concept of divine inspiration through dreams wasn't just confined to the playwrights and philosophers, it extended to all areas of Greek culture, including poetry, art, and even architecture. The Greeks believed that the gods communicated their visions through dreams, offering guidance that could shape the future of their civilization. While dreams were often associated with inspiration and creativity, they were also seen as a way to tap into hidden knowledge. The Greeks believed that the dream world was not just a place for random thoughts, but a place where the unconscious mind could reveal truths that were otherwise hidden. In this sense, the Greeks saw dreams as a way to access higher wisdom, a portal to understanding the deeper mysteries of the world. This belief in the power of dreams to unlock hidden knowledge is what led to the creation of dream interpretation schools, such as the famous Dream Interpretation Guide by Artemidorus, which we mentioned earlier. Artemidorus wrote extensively about the symbolic meaning of dreams, providing a framework through which dreamers could understand the messages they were receiving from the divine. The practice of interpreting dreams was deeply tied to the philosophical and intellectual pursuits of the time. Greek thinkers, from philosophers to doctors to artists, all recognized the potential for dreams to provide insight into the human condition. In many ways, the Greek belief in the power of dreams as a gateway to divine wisdom set the stage for later developments in dream psychology and symbolism. But dreams weren't just a source of artistic inspiration, they were also a way to connect with the gods on a deeply spiritual level. The Greeks believed that sleep was a sacred time, a time when they could communicate with the gods and receive guidance. This idea was deeply woven into their religious practices, and many rituals were dedicated to the gods of sleep and dreams. The most famous of these rituals took place at the temple of Asclepius, where people would sleep overnight in the hopes of receiving healing dreams. Asclepius was not just the god of healing in the physical sense, but also the god of spiritual healing, and his followers believed that by sleeping in his temple, they could receive divine messages that would guide them through their struggles. These temples were not just places for healing the body, they were also places where people sought spiritual renewal through the power of dreams. While the Greeks believed that the gods sent dreams for various reasons, whether for healing, prophecy, or inspiration, there was also a deep belief in the transformative power of dreams. Dreams, for the Greeks, were not just experiences to be forgotten when morning came, they were sacred encounters that could alter the course of one's life. A single dream could inspire a person to take action, to change their path, or to make a profound decision that would shape their future. Dreams were seen as a tool for personal transformation, a way to connect with the divine and understand one's purpose in life. This belief in the power of dreams was deeply ingrained in Greek culture, and it influenced their religious practices, artistic endeavors, and intellectual pursuits. As we continue this journey through the dream world of the Greeks, think about how they used sleep and dreams not just as a means of rest, but as a sacred space for communication with the gods. Imagine a world where every night your dreams could offer you wisdom, guidance, or even healing. In the Greek worldview, this wasn't a fantastical idea. It was an essential part of their understanding of life and the divine. Sleep wasn't simply a time to rest. It was a time to connect with something greater than oneself, to receive messages from the gods, and to shape one's destiny. So as you settle into the quiet of your own dreams tonight, consider the ancient Greeks' reverence for this mysterious realm. What wisdom might await you in your own dream world? What guidance could the gods offer you, just as they did for the heroes and philosophers of old? Tonight, as you drift deeper into slumber, let your dreams carry you into a space where anything is possible, a world where the divine speaks, the future is revealed, and the answers to life's greatest questions are just a dream away. Now that you've drifted deeper into this soothing journey, let's explore how the Greeks believed dreams had the power to not only influence individuals, but to alter entire societies. It wasn't just the personal guidance from the gods that made dreams important. Dreams were often seen as instruments of divine will, capable of shaping the course of nations. Imagine, if you will, being a leader, a general, or even a common person in ancient Greece, where the actions you took the following day could be influenced by a dream. Dreams were not just personal experiences. They were events of collective importance, guiding military decisions, political actions, and even the future of empires. One of the most fascinating stories of how dreams shaped history comes from the life of the great Athenian general Themistocles. Before the decisive Battle of Salamis in 480 BCE, Themistocles received a dream in which the goddess Athena appeared to him. In the dream, Athena urged him to trust in the power of his navy. Themistocles, interpreting the dream as a divine message, took immediate action and led the Greeks to a stunning victory over the Persian forces. This dream didn't just influence Themistocles, it shaped the fate of Athens and, by extension, the entire Greek world. Had Themistocles dismissed the dream or ignored the goddess's advice, the Greeks might have lost the battle, and the outcome of the Persian Wars could have been entirely different. This moment in history demonstrates the profound influence that dreams were believed to have on Greek leaders. Themistocles' dream was not a mere coincidence or random occurrence, it was a message from the gods, a divine intervention that guided him to make the right decision. In Greek society, this was not an isolated incident. Many political and military leaders relied on dreams for guidance, believing that their actions were being shaped by higher forces. Historians still argue about whether these dreams were genuinely divine in nature or if they were simply the result of subconscious desires. But for the Greeks, there was little doubt that dreams were a sacred source of insight. The concept of dreams as a powerful force that could shape the future wasn't limited to military leaders. It was also deeply ingrained in Greek religion and the everyday life of common people. For the Greeks, dreams were a reflection of divine will, a way to tap into the deeper mysteries of the universe. In fact, dreams were so important that they were often used to legitimize political actions and decisions. A dream could serve as divine proof for a ruler's right to rule, or it could be the divine instruction that led a group of people toward a particular course of action. The Greeks didn't just rely on dreams for personal understanding, they viewed them as messages that could have collective significance, guiding the destiny of entire communities. This deep connection between dreams and collective destiny is perhaps best illustrated by the story of the fall of Troy. The Greeks believed that the gods, through dreams and prophecies, had already foretold the downfall of the city. In the epic tale of the Iliad, the hero Achilles is warned of his own fate through a prophetic dream. But it's not just the fate of Achilles that's at stake, it's the fate of Troy itself. The dream in this context isn't just a personal warning to a hero, it's a message about the fate of a city, the culmination of a war, and the downfall of an empire. This underscores how dreams were seen as forces that could shape the fate of civilizations, not just individuals. Even after the fall of Troy, the influence of dreams remained a central part of Greek thought. The Odyssey, Homer's epic poem, is filled with dreams that guide Odysseus on his long journey home. In these dreams, Odysseus is often warned about the challenges he will face, or given clues about how to overcome them. The dreams in the Odyssey are not random, they are carefully placed by the gods to guide Odysseus and shape his destiny. These dreams are not just a personal experience for the hero, they are vital parts of the narrative that help to shape the very course of his journey and, ultimately, his return to Ithaca. This connection between dreams and collective fate wasn't limited to epic tales or mythology, it was a part of everyday life. Ordinary Greeks, from farmers to artisans, believed that their dreams could offer insights into everything from their personal health to the future of their families. Dreams were a part of the fabric of Greek society, woven into their religious practices and their daily routines. They didn't just sleep and dream, they actively sought to understand and interpret their dreams, believing that doing so would bring them closer to the divine and provide them with the answers they needed to navigate their lives. Historians still debate the exact role that dreams played in Greek society. Were they viewed as a means of personal guidance, or did the Greeks genuinely believe that their dreams were prophetic messages sent by the gods? It's difficult to say for certain, but one thing is clear. The Greeks saw dreams as much more than just a nighttime phenomenon. They believed that dreams were a direct link to the divine, a way to receive guidance, prophecy, and even healing. Whether they were seeking answers about the future of their families or the fate of their city, the Greeks turned to their dreams for insight and understanding. As you continue to relax into your own slumber, imagine that you, too, could receive such divine guidance. What if your dreams held the key to understanding your life's journey, or provided you with the answers you've been seeking? The Greeks believed that dreams could shape the future, guide decisions, and even change the course of history. And tonight, as you fall deeper into sleep, who knows what revelations might await you in the dream world? In the ancient Greek tradition, sleep wasn't just a time to rest, it was a time to connect with the gods, to receive their wisdom, and to shape your own fate. As you float further into this serene night, let's dive into another fascinating aspect of Greek dream beliefs, the link between dreams and the afterlife. While most of us think of sleep as simply the time we rest our bodies, the Greeks saw it as a passageway to something far greater, a gateway to the underworld itself. They believed that dreams weren't just the work of gods, they were also messages from the dead, a way for departed souls to communicate with the living. Imagine, for a moment, that your dreams could bring messages from ancestors, lost loved ones, or even spirits from the afterlife, offering wisdom, warnings, or guidance. This belief formed a key part of Greek thinking about death and the world beyond. In ancient Greek culture, the underworld was ruled by Hades, the god of the dead, and it was thought that dreams could provide a glimpse into this mysterious realm. The belief was that the souls of the deceased could send dreams to the living, sharing messages that were often cryptic but full of significance. These dreams were not to be taken lightly. If a deceased loved one appeared in a dream, it was seen as an important message, one that could provide guidance on matters such as family, life choices, or even matters of war. One of the most poignant examples of this connection between dreams and the afterlife comes from the Odyssey, where the hero Odysseus has a dream about his dead mother, Anticlea. In this dream, Anticlea speaks to Odysseus, revealing her death and urging him to return home. The dream serves as a powerful reminder to Odysseus of his duties and the consequences of his prolonged absence. This scene illustrates how dreams were seen as a form of communication with the dead, a way for the deceased to influence the actions of the living. In Greek thought, these dreams weren't just symbolic. They were deeply real and had the power to alter the decisions and actions of those still living. Historians still argue about the exact role of dreams as communication with the dead. Were these dreams simply psychological reflections of grief, or were they truly divine messages from the afterlife? Some believe that these dreams were a way for the Greeks to process their emotions and maintain connections with lost loved ones. Others suggest that the dreams were indeed seen as supernatural occurrences, where the dead played an active role in guiding the living. Regardless of the interpretation, it's clear that the Greeks placed immense significance on dreams as a means of connecting with the departed. The Greeks also believed that the underworld had its own set of dreams, distinct from those experienced in the waking world. These dreams, known as nekia, meaning dreams of the dead, were thought to be especially powerful and were believed to carry a deeper truth. When a person had a dream involving the dead, especially one that occurred near a burial site or in a sacred place, it was considered to be a sign of great importance. Some believe that these dreams could even help the living navigate the afterlife, providing insight into how they could avoid the dangers of the underworld or honor the gods in the proper way. This connection between dreams and the afterlife was central to the Greeks' religious practices and their understanding of death. Another significant part of Greek beliefs about dreams and the afterlife was the idea of eidolon, the concept of a shadow or ghost of the dead. It was believed that the eidolon, or spirit, of a person could appear in dreams to convey messages. These dreams were often unsettling, filled with cryptic symbols or disturbing imagery, but they were always seen as messages from the dead that needed to be understood and respected. The Greeks believed that if they ignored these dreams, they risked offending the spirits of the dead or neglecting important messages from the underworld. Now, let's pause and reflect on how this deep connection between dreams and the afterlife still resonates with us today. While we might not view our dreams as divine messages from the deceased, many cultures, even in modern times, hold similar beliefs. People often dream of loved ones who have passed away, seeking guidance, closure, or comfort. In some ways, the ancient Greek perspective on dreams reminds us of the emotional and spiritual power that dreams can hold, especially when it comes to matters of life, death, and our connections to the past. The Greeks didn't just see dreams as a way to communicate with the gods. They believed that dreams could act as a bridge between the living and the dead. This understanding of dreams as a form of spiritual connection was integral to their worldview. For them, sleep was not just an isolated personal experience. It was an opportunity to engage with the divine, the dead, and the unseen forces that shaped their world. So, as you rest tonight, think of the ancient Greeks who believed that their dreams were more than just visions in the dark. For them, sleep was a time to connect with gods, heroes, and ancestors, perhaps even to receive wisdom that could change the course of their lives. What if, just like the Greeks, you too could receive a message through your dreams? Perhaps it's not a message from the gods or the dead, but a reflection of your own inner wisdom, waiting to be uncovered. In the quiet of the night, the dream world holds countless possibilities, and just like the Greeks, we too might find that our dreams have the power to guide us toward deeper understanding. As you drift even deeper into the stillness of the night, let's consider the ancient Greek belief that dreams weren't merely messages from the divine or the dead. They were also ways to explore and understand the moral fabric of one's soul. For the Greeks, Dreams were not just about receiving answers or guidance. They were a way to look inward, to reflect on one's actions, choices, and the impact they had on both themselves and others. The Greeks believed that dreams could serve as mirrors to the inner workings of the soul, offering a unique opportunity to understand oneself more deeply and to grapple with the complexities of human nature. The philosopher Aristotle, for example, believed that dreams could provide insight into a person's moral character. He theorized that our dreams were reflections of our desires, fears, and moral struggles. In his work on dreams, Aristotle argued that when people had dreams that reflected acts of courage, wisdom, or compassion, it was a sign of their virtuous character. On the other hand, dreams of cowardice, greed, or cruelty revealed the darker aspects of the soul. This view of dreams as moral reflections was part of the broader Greek belief that every aspect of life, including sleep and dreams, was interconnected with a person's ethical standing. It wasn't just philosophers who saw dreams as a path to understanding one's moral nature. The ancient Greeks also believed that the gods used dreams to help individuals confront their moral failings. For example, a dream about a transgression like stealing or betraying a friend was believed to be a divine message, urging the dreamer to repent or seek redemption. Similarly, a dream in which a person acted heroically or selflessly was seen as confirmation of their virtue and a sign that they were on the right path. The ancient Greek poet Homer also wove the theme of morality into the dreams of his heroes. In the Iliad, Achilles experiences a dream in which the spirit of his dead friend Patroclus appears. The dream serves not only as a personal reminder of Achilles' grief, but also as a moral lesson about the importance of loyalty and honor. Achilles' response to this dream sets the course for his actions in the story, showing how dreams in the Greek tradition were intertwined with the ethical choices individuals faced. His decision to honor Patroclus's memory by avenging his death wasn't just a personal act of revenge, it was an act of moral redemption that shaped the course of the Trojan War. But not all dreams were purely personal. Many dreams, especially those linked to the gods, were believed to reflect the moral state of the entire community. A collective dream, or even a series of dreams experienced by multiple people, could serve as a divine message about the health of the city or the state. If the dreams were filled with peace and prosperity, it was seen as a good omen for the future of the community. But if the dreams were filled with chaos, suffering, or disaster, it was believed to be a warning, a call to the people to make changes in their actions or their way of life before disaster struck. The Greeks didn't just view dreams as individual experiences, they saw them as a reflection of the collective consciousness. In this way, dreams were not only personal messages from the gods or the dead, but they were also a way for society to align itself with divine will and moral order. These shared dreams were seen as a way for the community to stay in tune with the divine, to ensure that their actions were in harmony with the gods' wishes, and to maintain a moral and ethical balance. When the dreams of the people seemed to go awry, filled with visions of destruction, war, or injustice, it was a sign that something had gone wrong in the society, a signal that the moral fabric of the community needed to be repaired. This communal aspect of dream interpretation is fascinating because it shows that the Greeks didn't just believe that their dreams had personal significance, they saw them as part of a larger, divine order that connected everyone. Each individual's dreams, in the Greek worldview, were linked to the collective experience of the community. When an individual dreamed of a great personal victory, it was seen as a positive omen for the community as a whole. Likewise, when dreams reflected suffering or failure, it was believed that the entire city or kingdom might be in moral jeopardy. In a way, the Greek understanding of dreams reminds us of how deeply intertwined their sense of individual and collective morality was. It wasn't just about personal choices and actions, it was about understanding how those actions fit into the broader moral structure of society. Dreams were a way to see that structure more clearly. In the modern world, we might think of dreams as something private, something that reflects only our own subconscious thoughts or desires. But for the Greeks, dreams were much more than that. They were a tool for understanding the divine order, for reflecting on one's moral life, and for connecting with the gods. So, as you drift further into this sleep, remember that in ancient Greece, the act of dreaming wasn't just about relaxation or rest, it was a deeply spiritual and moral experience. Whether through dreams of divine intervention, prophecies of the gods, or reflections on personal and collective morality, the Greeks understood sleep and dreams as a powerful force that could shape their lives in profound ways. Just as the gods used dreams to communicate with mortals, perhaps too, there are messages waiting for you in your dreams, offering guidance, wisdom, and insight into your own journey. Now, as we ease further into the quiet depths of sleep, let's explore how dreams were used to make sense of the world in a more profound way than we often consider today. In the ancient Greek worldview, dreams were seen as one of the most direct ways the divine intervened in daily life. They were more than simply reflections of our subconscious mind or a product of random neural activity. They were messages from the gods, the spirits of the dead, and the very forces of fate itself. The Greeks believed that dreams were part of a larger divine plan, a way in which gods communicated their will and guided humanity towards specific actions or outcomes. Dreams weren't just a private experience, they were public affairs, often woven into the very fabric of Greek religion, politics, and society. One of the most significant ways dreams were used in ancient Greece was in the decision-making processes of their political and military leaders. Rulers and generals alike would turn to their dreams for advice, believing that divine messages could reveal the course of action they needed to take in times of crisis. The idea that a dream could be a form of divine consultation is not limited to just a few examples. Throughout Greek history, stories abound of military and political leaders turning to their dreams for insight before making life-altering decisions. This practice wasn't limited to the great kings and generals, it extended to anyone who needed divine guidance, from philosophers to common people. Perhaps the most famous example of this practice can be found in the story of Alexander the Great, one of the most legendary figures in history. Before his conquest of Persia, Alexander reportedly had a vivid dream in which he saw a figure of a man who resembled him, standing on the shores of Asia and gazing out at the vast lands ahead. The dream was interpreted as a sign that he was destined for greatness, that he would succeed in his ambitious quest to conquer Persia, and ultimately, the world. For Alexander, this dream served not only as divine affirmation of his ambitions, but also as the driving force behind his determination and sense of purpose. Historians still debate whether Alexander truly believed in the power of his dreams, or if he simply used them as a way to fuel his already strong sense of destiny. But for the Greeks, the message of his dream was clear. He was chosen by the gods to lead and conquer. And it wasn't just kings and generals who turned to dreams for guidance. Ordinary people also used their dreams to seek answers about their lives. The Greeks believed that sleep was a sacred time, and that the gods were watching over them while they rested. People would offer prayers and sacrifices before going to bed in the hopes that the gods would send them a helpful dream. These dreams could range from personal guidance to prophetic visions. In some cases, people would seek out specific deities for help through their dreams. For example, in times of illness, people would visit the healing temples of Asclepius, hoping for a dream that would provide insight into how to cure their ailments. Asclepius, the god of healing, was particularly known for sending dreams that would provide both spiritual and physical healing. These dreams were often seen as a divine prescription, offering guidance on treatments, remedies, or rituals that could bring healing to the dreamer. But it wasn't just the gods who could intervene in dreams. In Greek culture, dreams could also come from the souls of the deceased. The idea of the dead communicating through dreams was not only common but integral to the Greek understanding of the afterlife. The soul was believed to continue its existence after death, and the spirits of the deceased were thought to have the ability to visit the living in their dreams. These dreams often carried messages of warning, guidance, or even reconciliation. The most famous of these dream visits from the dead is found in Homer's Odyssey, when Odysseus dreams of his deceased mother, Anticlea. In the dream, she tells him of her death and urges him to return home to Ithaca. This encounter with the dead was not just a personal moment of grief for Odysseus, it was also a pivotal turning point in his journey, providing him with the emotional strength to continue his journey back to his homeland. For the Greeks, dreams weren't just fleeting, personal experiences. They were events of great significance, capable of shaping the lives of the dreamer and even the fate of entire cities. Whether it was a dream sent by the gods to guide a military leader, a prophetic vision warning of impending doom, or a message from a lost loved one urging action, dreams were woven into the very fabric of Greek society. They were a tool for understanding the will of the gods, for receiving healing and wisdom, and for navigating the challenges of life. In a sense, the ancient Greeks understood dreams in much the same way that modern-day people sometimes view their intuition or gut feeling. While today we might brush off a strange feeling as just a product of our subconscious, the Greeks believed that these feelings, whether in waking or sleeping states, were messages from the divine, guiding them toward the right course of action. In their world, dreams weren't something to ignore or dismiss. They were a powerful tool for understanding the hidden forces at work in the world and in one's life. As you slip further into this peaceful slumber, think about how the ancient Greeks might have perceived your dreams. What if they weren't simply products of your mind, but powerful messages from the divine, urging you to take a certain action, guiding you through challenges, or offering insight into your future? In the quiet of the night, the dream world is still a place where mysteries unfold, where wisdom is shared, and where we can find answers to the questions that weigh most heavily on our hearts. So, as you close your eyes tonight, know that, just like the Greeks, you too are part of a timeless tradition of dreamers who seek guidance and insight from the world beyond. Your dreams are not just random fragments of the mind, they are opportunities to connect with something greater, to receive wisdom, and to explore the mysteries of your own soul. Just like the ancient Greeks, let your dreams be a source of guidance, inspiration, and understanding as you embark on your own journey through the dream world. As you drift deeper into the peaceful rhythm of sleep, let's explore how the ancient Greeks also viewed dreams as a source of personal transformation, an essential aspect of their philosophy. For the Greeks, dreams were not simply messages from the gods or the dead. They were, in many ways, a way to unlock deeper truths about oneself. In their worldview, sleep and dreams served as a mirror for the soul, offering a way to reflect on one's moral compass and even the meaning of life itself. Dreams, for the Greeks, were a means of understanding who they were, what they were meant to do, and how they could achieve their highest potential. This introspective aspect of dreaming is reflected in the way the ancient Greeks believed that the gods would sometimes use dreams as tools for personal growth. One of the most famous examples of this comes from the philosopher Socrates, who often spoke about how dreams played a central role in his personal development. Socrates was known for his belief in divine guidance, particularly through the dreams and visions he received. In one of his most famous teachings, Socrates claimed that he had a divine voice, or daimonion, which appeared to him in dreams and warned him whenever he was about to make a mistake. Socrates was deeply committed to following these dreams, seeing them as a form of divine correction that helped him stay true to his higher calling. Socrates' relationship with his dreams reveals the profound connection that the Greeks believed existed between sleep and spiritual growth. To them, sleep was not just a time to rest or rejuvenate the body, it was a sacred opportunity to connect with the divine, to seek wisdom, and to receive personal insight. This connection between dreams and moral guidance was not unique to Socrates. Many other Greek thinkers and leaders saw dreams as powerful agents of personal transformation. Dreams were viewed as a way to reconcile one's internal conflicts and move toward moral enlightenment. But it wasn't just the philosophers who used dreams for self-reflection. Ordinary people in ancient Greece also saw dreams as a tool for personal growth and spiritual understanding. In fact, one of the most powerful aspects of Greek dream culture was how they believed dreams could help a person confront their own moral weaknesses. If someone had a dream about committing a wrongdoing, it was seen as a divine message urging them to correct their behavior and seek redemption. For the Greeks, dreams were a form of moral guidance, pushing individuals to live virtuous lives and to pursue wisdom and justice. Take, for example, the Greek practice of incubation, the sacred tradition of sleeping in temples dedicated to Asclepius, the god of healing. People who sought healing would enter these temples in a state of reverence and prayer, hoping to receive a healing dream. But the healing wasn't just physical. Many of these dreams were also deeply spiritual. The visions people experienced during their sleep were thought to reveal insights into their emotional and psychological states, offering advice on how to overcome inner struggles. Dreams of this nature were seen as messages that not only healed the body, but also the spirit, allowing individuals to confront their fears and their personal limitations. These practices weren't confined to the realm of healing alone. In Greek society, dreams were also seen as a way to align oneself with the divine order of the universe. The Greeks believed that by examining their dreams and understanding their messages, they could achieve a deeper understanding of the universe and their place within it. Dreams were seen as a way to connect with the gods, to receive wisdom, and to align oneself with the greater cosmic forces that govern the world. This belief in dreams as a path to spiritual enlightenment is evident in the philosophical works of Plato and Aristotle, who both wrote extensively about the role of dreams in moral and spiritual development. In the Republic, Plato discusses how the soul can be purified through the process of dreaming. He argues that dreams, particularly those that challenge a person's moral character, serve as an opportunity to confront and overcome weaknesses. According to Plato, the gods send dreams to help guide individuals toward greater understanding and virtue. For Plato, the dream world was a place where the soul could receive wisdom and confront its own flaws, allowing the dreamer to evolve spiritually. In this sense, dreams were seen as a vital part of personal and philosophical growth, helping individuals to become more attuned to their higher purpose and align their actions with divine will. Similarly, Aristotle believed that dreams played a significant role in self-awareness and personal development. In his treatise on dreams, Aristotle suggested that dreams offered insight into the hidden aspects of the psyche. Dreams, according to Aristotle, were a reflection of the unconscious mind and could reveal truths about a person's character, desires, and fears. This belief in dreams as a tool for self-reflection and personal transformation has continued to influence modern psychology, especially in the works of figures like Carl Jung, who viewed dreams as a means of accessing the unconscious mind and achieving personal integration. But not all dreams were about confronting moral flaws or achieving enlightenment. Sometimes, dreams were simply about exploration, about uncovering hidden desires, repressed emotions, or forgotten memories. The Greeks believed that dreams were a doorway to the deeper recesses of the soul, allowing individuals to explore their unconscious minds in ways that the waking world didn't permit. The symbolism in dreams, they believed, could offer insight into parts of the psyche that were often inaccessible during the day. Whether through divine intervention or psychological exploration, dreams were a way to access a higher level of understanding and self-awareness. As you settle deeper into your sleep, reflect on the idea that your dreams, too, may serve as a mirror to your soul. Like the ancient Greeks, perhaps there is wisdom to be found in your dreams, wisdom that could guide your actions, provide insight into your own character, or even offer a glimpse into the greater cosmic order. The Greeks believed that sleep and dreams were sacred spaces where the divine could speak to them, offering guidance, healing, and transformation. In this quiet moment, as your body rests and your mind drifts, perhaps you too are connected to that same divine realm, ready to receive the messages that your dreams have to offer. As you ease further into this deep, peaceful slumber, let's consider how the ancient Greeks saw dreams as a vital component of their relationship with fate itself. Dreams weren't merely a tool for personal growth or divine messages, they were deeply intertwined with the Greek understanding of destiny, a concept that played a central role in their worldview. The Greeks didn't see life as a simple series of events. Instead, they believed that everything was part of a grand cosmic plan, and dreams were one of the most significant ways they interacted with this fate. Whether they were guiding heroes to glory or warning rulers of impending doom, dreams were seen as a way for the gods to steer humanity toward its destined path. In ancient Greek mythology, fate was governed by three powerful sisters known as the Moirai, or the Fates. These goddesses were responsible for spinning, measuring, and cutting the thread of life for every individual. The thread symbolized a person's life, and the Moirai determined how long it would be and the events that would happen during it. The Fates had the power to decide the course of a person's life, and nothing, no god or mortal, could alter their decisions. The Greeks believed that even the gods themselves were bound by the Fates, making them the most powerful forces in the universe. Dreams, however, were seen as a way to receive a glimpse of this divine plan, offering insights into the future and a sense of where one's life was heading. One of the most famous stories illustrating this connection between fate and dreams is the myth of Oedipus, the tragic hero of Sophocles' play. Oedipus's life was marked by a prophecy that foretold he would kill his father and marry his mother, a fate so dire that his parents tried to avoid it by abandoning him at birth. But despite their efforts, Oedipus's fate caught up with him. The prophecy was fulfilled, and his dreams, like those of many Greek heroes, were connected to a larger, inevitable destiny. Dreams in Greek mythology, especially those connected with fate, were never random. They were seen as messages about the life that had already been determined for a person, offering a glimpse of what was to come. The connection between dreams and fate was central to the Greeks' understanding of the world. When someone had a dream about the future, it wasn't just a random vision, it was believed to be a reflection of the divine plan. In fact, many of the most significant events in Greek mythology were preceded by dreams that foretold what was to come. In the Iliad, for example, Achilles' dreams reveal his fate on the battlefield, guiding him toward his ultimate death. Similarly, the dream of the great Trojan prince Hector foreshadows the fall of Troy. These dreams were not merely symbolic, they were deeply connected to the Greek belief in fate, and they were understood as a direct communication from the gods about what was to come. This deep connection between fate and dreams isn't just a feature of mythology, it was a belief that permeated Greek society as well. Leaders and warriors who received dreams often saw them as indications of what was meant to happen. If a king or general dreamed of victory, it was seen as a sign that the gods had ordained it. If, on the other hand, the dream was filled with images of loss or destruction, it was taken as a warning, a message from the gods urging the dreamer to reconsider their actions. Take the example of the Persian Wars, where Greek leaders turned to their dreams for divine guidance. Before the Battle of Salamis, the Athenian general Themistocles had a prophetic dream that urged him to trust in his navy's strength. Themistocles saw this dream as an omen of victory, and he acted accordingly, leading the Greek fleet to a stunning victory over the Persian Empire. Themistocles' decision to follow the dream was seen as following the divine path laid out for him by the gods. In this way, dreams were not just personal insights, they were seen as glimpses into the larger cosmic forces that determine the fate of nations. In some cases, the Greeks believed that certain individuals were especially connected to fate through their dreams. Heroes like Heracles and Theseus were often depicted as receiving divine messages through dreams, messages that shaped the course of their quests and helped them fulfill their destinies. In the Greek worldview, a dream wasn't just a personal experience, it was part of a larger cosmic narrative, a story that was unfolding according to divine will. To dream was to be connected to that story, to receive a small part of the divine plan that governed all things. What's striking about this belief in fate and dreams is how the Greeks saw life as a journey through a predetermined path, yet they still believed they had a role to play in how their dreams were interpreted and acted upon. This duality of fate and free will is one of the most intriguing aspects of Greek thought. On the one hand, fate was inevitable, and the gods controlled it. On the other hand, the Greeks believed they could use dreams to navigate and influence their journey. It's a fascinating balance of accepting the inevitable while still striving to shape their path with the guidance of the gods. As you continue your peaceful descent into sleep, consider how the Greeks viewed your own dreams as something much greater than a random occurrence. They saw them as a way to connect with the divine, a tool for understanding the hidden forces that shaped their destinies. Whether the dream was a message from the gods, a warning about the future, or a glimpse into one's moral journey, it was always seen as a crucial part of the life path. In the quiet of the night, your own dreams may be just as meaningful. Whether they are a glimpse of the future, a reflection of your inner struggles, or simply a way to connect with something greater, remember that dreams hold the potential to guide you. Just like the Greeks, who used dreams to navigate their lives and shape their destinies, you too might find that the dreams of tonight hold more than meets the eye. As you continue to relax, let's now explore how, for the Greeks, the gods weren't the only ones communicating through dreams. There was also a fascinating connection between dreams and the power of the mind, something the Greeks understood deeply, even in their mythological traditions. Dreams were seen as reflections of the soul, a mirror that could reveal one's innermost desires, fears, and truths. Just as dreams could be messages from the gods, they were also believed to be a way to connect with one's own deeper self, allowing the dreamer to understand and confront their own hidden emotions. One particularly significant way that dreams played a role in Greek culture was through the practice of dream incubation. This was the act of deliberately seeking out dreams to gain insight or guidance, often performed in temples dedicated to Asclepius, the god of healing. People who were seeking guidance, whether it was for healing, personal dilemmas, or even artistic inspiration, would enter the temple, fasting and praying, hoping to receive a message from the divine. These sacred dreams, believed to be sent by the gods, were thought to hold the answers to deep spiritual or physical challenges. It was more than just a sleep ritual, it was a way of inviting divine wisdom into one's life, seeking to connect the conscious world with the realm of the divine. In many ways, this act of seeking guidance through dreams parallels the more modern psychological understanding of dreams as tools for self-reflection. In Greek thought, the process wasn't just about physical healing, it was about gaining deeper insight into one's emotional and spiritual state. Asclepius, the god who presided over these healing rituals, wasn't only associated with curing physical ailments. His temple was a place where people could seek insight into their mental and emotional health as well. By allowing themselves to be guided through the world of dreams, the Greeks believed they could not only resolve inner turmoil but also gain clarity on their greater purpose in life. Interestingly, the idea of using dreams as a form of therapy or a way to address personal conflict wasn't confined to religious or mystical practice. Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle also recognized the value of dreams in understanding the psyche. In Plato's Republic, he suggested that dreams could reveal an individual's deepest desires and fears, and that understanding these dreams could help someone achieve a better, more virtuous life. Dreams in this context were not just an escape or a break from reality. They were a way to confront the unconscious mind and understand the hidden aspects of oneself. This philosophical idea mirrored the later development of psychoanalysis, where dreams became a central part of understanding the human psyche. However, not all dreams in Greek society were seen as divine gifts or opportunities for self-reflection. Some dreams were simply viewed as products of the mind, residual thoughts from the day, or manifestations of repressed desires. These dreams, according to some Greek philosophers, were a way for the mind to process the events of the day, to reconcile emotions, and to make sense of the chaotic world. This belief shows a pragmatic side to Greek dream interpretation, where dreams were not always seen as divine messages, but as natural occurrences that allowed the mind to organize and make sense of its experiences. But even in these more mundane interpretations, dreams still held significant meaning. The Greeks were keen observers of the natural world and understood that everything, even a dream, could provide insight into the forces at play within one's life. They didn't view dreams as separate from reality, but as part of the larger tapestry of existence, where the conscious and unconscious minds worked in harmony with the gods, fate, and the laws of the universe. Now, as you drift further into your own dreams tonight, think about how the Greeks would have viewed your dreams as a way to connect with the gods, to learn something new about yourself, or perhaps to discover a hidden truth. Dreams were seen as a vital part of understanding the world, and the Greeks used them as tools for personal growth, spiritual insight, and even societal change. Whether through direct divine intervention, psychological exploration, or simply as a means to reflect on one's actions, dreams were deeply revered. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine that your dreams are not just an escape from the day, but a doorway to something deeper, a chance to understand yourself, to confront your hidden fears and desires, and to receive guidance from a source greater than yourself. In the quiet of sleep, as the mind and body rest, there's a powerful opportunity to connect with the deeper forces of the universe, much like the ancient Greeks believed. Just as they did, you might find that your dreams, too, hold the power to reveal answers, to guide you toward your destiny, and to help you navigate the complexities of life. Whether they are visions sent from the divine, reflections of your inner self, or even simple glimpses into the future, the dream world remains a sacred and transformative space, a place where anything is possible, and where the boundaries between the conscious and unconscious, the living and the divine, blur. As you sink deeper into the calm embrace of sleep, let's take a moment to reflect on the significance of dreams in the lives of the ancient Greeks, and how their views on dreams might still resonate with us today. Dreams in ancient Greece weren't just fleeting visions, they were sacred events that could change the course of history, reveal the nature of the soul, and even bridge the gap between the living and the dead. In their world, sleep was not simply a physical necessity, it was a spiritual journey, one that provided a window into the divine, the future, and the deepest recesses of the human experience. For the Greeks, dreams were not just personal, they were societal. They believed that dreams connected them to the larger cosmic order, to the gods, and to the very fabric of fate. Whether these dreams were messages from the gods, insights into the future, or reflections of the inner workings of the soul, they were regarded as valuable and meaningful. They were a way for the Greeks to interact with the forces that shaped their world, to receive guidance, and to navigate the complexities of life. Dreams weren't something to be ignored or dismissed, they were sacred, and their interpretations held the power to change lives. Consider how dreams played a role in their political and military decisions, guiding leaders like Themistocles and Alexander the Great to victory, or how they served as a tool for healing, with temples dedicated to Asclepius offering solace to those in need of both physical and spiritual restoration. The Greeks understood that dreams weren't just about sleep, they were an essential part of life, a direct link to the divine. Whether through visions of glory or nightmares of destruction, dreams shaped their actions, their beliefs, and their understanding of the world around them. And while we may not believe in the gods' direct intervention in our dreams today, the ancient Greek reverence for dreams still holds a profound truth for us. Dreams, whether we interpret them through psychological analysis or personal reflection, remain a window into our deepest desires, fears, and aspirations. They hold the potential to guide us, to reveal parts of ourselves that we might not be fully aware of, and to provide insight into the challenges we face. Just as the Greeks once believed, perhaps there is still a divine element to our dreams, a message, a calling, or a warning waiting to be discovered. As you lay here, drifting deeper into sleep, think about the ancient Greeks and how they revered dreams as a sacred part of their lives. For them, dreams were not random. They were a tool for understanding the divine, for connecting with the gods, for healing, and for confronting the deepest truths of their existence. They didn't just sleep and dream, they used their dreams as a way to navigate their journey through life. And in that quiet space between wakefulness and sleep, they understood that dreams could change everything. Now, as you sink further into your own dreams, consider how they might be more than just random thoughts or reflections of your subconscious. What if they, too, could offer you wisdom, guidance, or insight into your own life's journey? Like the Greeks, you might find that your dreams hold the key to something greater than yourself, a deeper understanding of your soul, your purpose, and your place in the world. As the night wraps you in its peaceful embrace, let your dreams carry you to places of wisdom and transformation. Let them guide you toward the answers you seek, whether they come from the divine, your inner self, or the world around you. The Greeks believed that dreams were a sacred tool, a gift from the gods, and a way to unlock the mysteries of life. Perhaps, in the stillness of your own dreams, you'll find that they still hold the same power ready to guide you through your journey. Now, as the sleep overtakes you, know that you are not just resting. You are part of a timeless tradition of dreamers who have looked to their dreams for guidance, healing, and understanding. The ancient Greeks saw sleep as a divine realm, and perhaps in the quiet moments of your own slumber, you too will experience the same magic that once guided their greatest leaders, warriors, and philosophers. So, let go, drift into the dream world, and allow the messages of the night to shape the course of your own life.